Hi everyone, I'm George, this is Florence.
Hello.
And today we're going to take you through my top 10 tips for looking after a planted aquarium. So if you've not watched my channel before, please subscribe, hit that notification bell and you'll get automatically notified every time I upload an inspirational aquarium video. Okay, well before we start going through the top 10, I just want a quick disclaimer. So these are my own top 10 tips. By no means that they are the best tips in the world and they apply to everyone. You know, the planted tanks are a very complicated topic and some people have different techniques. These top 10 tips are based on my own experiences. Okay, lighting. Lighting is fundamental to planted aquariums. Plants need light to grow, they need light to photosynthesize, which means they convert light and CO2 into plant growth, basically. Now, my top tip for lighting is don't have too much. Have enough to grow your most demanding plant in the tank and try not to have any more than that, because that's just going to give you more risk of algae. Algae loves too much light.
Plant heavily and healthily. Okay,
so yeah, big common mistake for beginners is not putting enough plants in there to start with, or those plants aren't healthy. So I always plant as heavily as I can from the outset, get really healthy plants, and that's going to give you the best chance at defeating algae and give you success right from the beginning. So the potential issue in a new system is that nothing's in balance. There's loads of room for error with algae, and you really need to focus on growing those plants as healthy as you can. So buy from a reputable dealer. So shout out to Aquarium Gardens, where I get the vast majority of my plants from. I also get plants direct from the suppliers such as Tropica and Denelay and Aquaflora, so I'm very lucky. If you don't have access to awesome plants like that, then just do your research, visit your local shop, find out when they get their next plant delivery and get those plants as soon as you can after they're delivered, and just buy as many as you can afford, as many as you can fit in the tank right from the start, and that's going to give you the best chance of success.
Number 3, CO2.
Okay, so all plants need CO2. Now, CO2 exists already in the water, but if we want to get really super plant growth, we need to inject extra CO2. Now, there's a couple of videos I've done on CO2 recently, so check out the link above for those. But yeah, if you really want to succeed with the plants, and one of the best chances of success and improving your plant growth is to inject CO2. Just a bit of science for you, plants are about 40% made of carbon. For them to grow, they need more carbon, and for them to get that carbon, the best way they can get it is from CO2.
Number 4, daily fertilisers.
Okay, this is a big thing for me. Daily fertilisers. Plants like to be fed little and often. So most liquid fertiliser, plant fertiliser companies recommend once a week, whereas I recommend once a day. So make it part of your daily routine. Dose a comprehensive liquid fertiliser, so a fertiliser that contains all of the macronutrients and the micronutrients. Perfect example is the Aquascaping complete liquid plant food. Comes with nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, NPK, plus all the micronutrients and other macronutrients. So feed this every day and your plants will never go hungry. Healthy plants mean less chance of algae. If you underfeed your plants, the plants go through nutrient deficiencies and that leaves the door open to algae. So it's a really good idea to feed those plants regularly.
Number 5, water changes.
Okay, water changes, real big deal, especially in a high energy planted tank where the plants are producing loads of waste organics, the fish are producing waste organics. The higher energy the system, the more of those waste organics are being produced. So we need to dilute those, and the best way to dilute them, I think, is via a water change. So I always recommend 50% water change once a week in a new setup, more frequently than that, and it just dilutes all those organics, it just resets all the nutrient levels and just helps to prevent algae. So we've literally just done a 50% water change on this. It's the second one this week I've done because it is a relatively new setup. And if there's one thing I can recommend to help prevent algae in an established setup, it's more water changes. And another important benefit of the water change is it resets nutrient levels. So if you're dosing daily with a liquid fertiliser, and you're deliberately slightly overdosing, which is what I recommend, so the plants never go hungry, we need to reset those nutrient levels with that 50% water change once a week.
Number 6, fish selection.
This is more of an aquascaping related topic, but still relevant to planted tanks. So it's important to balance the planted tank with the amount of fish you have. So try not to overstock with fish. Fish produce organic waste, which helps to lead to algae issues. So if anything, I would always recommend understock with fish and then overfilter, and that's going to give you the best chance at minimising algae. But think about the selection of fish as well. From an aesthetic point of view, you want to be choosing fish that suit the size of the aquascape and the shape of the aquascape and the style of the aquascape. Top 10 tips for aquascapes is going to be another video in the future, so I won't go into too much detail on fish selection from an aesthetic point of view. But just think basics, you know, try to keep bigger shoals of smaller fish rather than 1 or 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 species of 1 or 2 fish, which looks a little bit chaotic. But yeah, fish selection is really, really important.
Regular maintenance, number 7.
Really important to maintain your planted tank regularly. So we're talking water changes, we're talking the liquid fertilisers, we're talking trimming the plants, dealing with any algae issues before they occur. So we're talking preventative maintenance rather than corrective maintenance. We want to be dealing with any issues before they happen rather than correcting issues as they happen or after they happen. So little things like always do a water change after the maintenance, because you're gonna, if you imagine if I clean the aquarium glass right now or disrupted the substrate, it's going to kick up a load of waste organics and potential algae into the water. We want to be diluting that with our water change straight afterwards. So always recommend a big water change after any maintenance practice.
Number 8. Filtration and circulation.
Okay, so filtration and circulation you can combine together as one topic. So let's talk about filtration first. We obviously want to be minimising any ammonia, nitrites, etc. Actually, the plants help to do that really effectively. So in terms of filtration, I focus more on the flow rate. So ideally you want to be looking at about 10 times turnover in the aquarium. So this is about 100 litres. So you want to have a filter that's about 1,000 litres per hour. And that's going to get the water circulated around the tank effectively, minimise any dead spots, and also get that CO2 and other nutrients around the tank to feed those plants as well as possible. And you can see in this tank here, we've got the outlet here, and that's firing across the front of the tank, picking up these CO2 bubbles on the left, and that CO2 is getting effectively distributed all around the water column as well as can be. So actually the filter on this, and I'm going to do a long-term review on this filter, a really good filter, Oazi Biomaster 600 with built-in heater, built-in pre-filter, which makes it really super quick to maintain. And massively overrated for this size of tank, but like I said earlier, always better to over-filter than under-filter.
Number 9. Shrimp.
Shrimp, I love shrimp. So in a planted tank, I always recommend shrimp, unless you've got really big fish that are going to eat the shrimp, but my planted tanks tend to have big shoals of smaller fish, so that they're shrimp safe. Always normally have 2 types of shrimp in my tanks, Amano shrimp,
Cherry shrimp.
Yeah. Now, Amano shrimp are best for eating algae, better than the cherry shrimp, but I like cherry shrimp because they breed so prolifically. You can have literally hundreds in your tank, and they're constantly grazing the surfaces for biofilm, bacteria, microflora, microfauna, and that helps to prevent the algae build-up. So,
and they add colour.
And they add colour, and they're really interesting. I mean, there's some cherry shrimp in here right now. We'll get you some close-ups of that. So yeah, they're really, really cool. I love shrimp. Last
but not least, number 10, substrate.
Okay, substrate, really important, and one of the first things we put in the planted tank, obviously. Invest in a good substrate. There's lots of different products on the market. You can go for a complete soil like this, or you can go for a nutrient-rich base layer with an inert substrate on top, which is another good option that I've used a lot over the years. Some people like what they call dirted substrates. They literally have like a garden soil or something underneath. I've no experience with that, so I can't talk about that with any credibility, unfortunately. But my number one preference is a soil like this. This is JBL ProScape soil. Loads of other brands, ADA Aqua Soil, Amazonia, Denali Escaper soil, Tropica plant soil, all very, very good products. All help feed the plant roots, all have a high cation exchange capacity, which means that they grab nutrients and hold them into the soil, making those nutrients available to the plant roots. But if you're tight on budget, you could always go for an inert quartz gravel. I always recommend a quartz gravel because it's inert, it doesn't influence your water chemistry, and doesn't leach silicates like some silica gravels can, or sands. And then I always normally opt for a nutrient-rich base layer, so something like Tropica plant substrate or Denali 9-in-1, JBL Aquabasis. There's loads of products out on the market, and they all do a very similar task. So another top tip for substrate is, for me, I would normally have it shallow at the front and then deeper at the back, and that gives you a better sense of perspective, sense of depth, exactly. So yeah, substrate is really important. Try to invest in a good quality substrate. Okay, that wraps it up for our top 10 planted tank tips. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks so much to Florence for helping me out. It is Christmas time. We're publishing this on Christmas Eve, so Merry Christmas to everyone that's watching it as I'm releasing the video. Look after yourselves, have a great new year. Finally, you know what I'm going to say?
Keep on scaping.
Take care, guys. Cheerio.
No!
Well done, France. Fantastic. So,
Just start brand new.
So if this is, God's sake. So if this is your first time on my channel, please subscribe, hit the notification bell, and you'll get up automatically. And you'll automatically get uploaded.
Just start all new.
Okay.
It's fine.
Alright, ready?
Hi, my name is George. Welcome
Is
to.
it? I thought you were Florence.
Okay.
Okay, alright, there we go.
La la.
Why don't you introduce it?
Because
Go on,
you're not
try it.
used
Shall
to.
we- let's try it, go on.
Okay. Hello, welcome to this video. This is my father.
I am your father.